Mark, you know what we haven't done in a while?
Put out a good podcast.
We haven't done a giveaway.
We ain't done a giveaway in a while.
No. So for the month of September, I came up with an idea.
What do you got?
We've been putting cash in the urn.
All
We'll
right.
keep doing that.
All right.
I'll get a different urn. Let's give away the urn.
Full cash?
Not full of cash. Something even better.
Come on.
Kane's been in the studio.
Right.
So what I did was I had Kane sign the urn. Maybe I can convince you to sign it as well.
I think we can do that.
We're going to give it away to one lucky fan. All you have to do,
What do you got to do? Tell me.
go over to our Spotify, give us a follow, a 5-star review, and leave a comment. It can be any comment. We don't care. Undertaker's great. Brothers of Destruction, greatest tag team ever.
Right.
Matt sucks. Whatever. We don't care what you write in there. Just leave a comment, a 5-star review, and follow the Spotify page. That's all you have to do.
That's easy peasy.
Not a dollar needs to be spent.
Not dying.
And you'll have a chance to win this urn signed by the Brothers of Destruction.
Being a giant, especially back then, now it's kind of a curse to be a giant. But
Yeah.
back then, if you were like that big, it's just a blessing. That's just like what Coach John Wooden, you can't teach height.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When Mick Foley walks in the locker room and you're sitting there and Mick's like, oh my God, what happened to you? You're
That's
like,
when you know.
Yeah.
That's when you know
I need to get to the hospital like right now. Really, that's actually what sold the whole deal. Because the Undertaker never gets confused. The Undertaker never looks anxious.
Never looks scared.
Never looks scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here he is, with those emotions. And that's actually, I think, what was the most important part. Because if I'd have come out and he'd just been like, oh, who's the big guy? Been no big deal. But the way he sold it, everybody's like, oh, even the Undertaker is like intimidated by whoever this is.
It's an absolute honor to have you here. So thank you for making the journey from Knoxville down here to see Podunk, Texas here.
Podunk, Texas, man.
Podunk, Texas here.
Well, we're going to have a little football season started now.
Yeah. Things change, man.
We might have to have a little throwback to the unbrotherly love when it gets Tennessee, Texas time.
Yes, sir. That sounds a good time. Although you do know there wouldn't be a Texas without a Tennessee. We always have to say that.
Excuse me?
There wouldn't be a Texas without a
Please.
Tennessee.
That dude with the furry cap, he came down. He didn't.
And you have the real UT,
Right,
University of Texas. I saw a thing yesterday. It was a ESPN. They were down at College Station with the A&M game, and someone was holding a sign that said, the real UT's in Knoxville. So even the Aggies know where
Well,
the real
Aggies.
UT
I mean,
is.
you can't really. I mean, come on. I can tell. You're getting.
Yeah, it's getting close.
It's getting close. Yeah.
I'm just glad Texas finally came to a real football conference too.
Yeah, that's very true.
They're actually going to get to
point. Yes.
play good football
point.
now.
Who'd South Carolina play yesterday?
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion. How'd they do?
It was a close game.
Old Dominion.
It's a close game.
Yeah.
And some cobwebs had to be knocked off. It is what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
We're holding our cards close to our vest. We don't expose
Evidently.
ourselves in week
Yes.
one. That's when those big games come up, we can actually, we got a little. That's
I can't say anything. A couple of years ago, Tennessee was doing great and ran into South Carolina and got beat. So I would say something, but that would just come back to bite me. So it was a fluke, yes. But
Yeah, well, we were on our way to the SEC championship a handful of years ago, and Tennessee beat us on a crazy pass that shouldn't have been called and everything else. It's like
that's
Spurrier's
called talent.
last year.
skill.
Yeah.
Got an underlying animosity here. I love it.
Oh
I love
man,
all
football
this-
brings out the
the best
truth.
in everybody. But yeah, man,
It's all love until you start talking about college football.
I'm in such a better mood now that football season started.
It's amazing.
It's amazing what it does.
Yes, I am very happy myself.
Yeah.
So yes,
I can't
agree with
watch. I mean, this is like I can't watch enough highlights. I just analyze everything. Texas won 52-0. Just Arch Manning got into play a little
Oh,
bit.
they gave him a standing ovation. I think he got a couple of Heisman Trophy votes yesterday.
He did. Dude, they talked more
Just for showing up.
They talked more about Arch Manning than they did Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
And he had a outstanding game, man. It was
Well, we got done with, game was over. We went to Terry Black's last night for dinner, and like all of UT rolled in there, not Tennessee, Texas, and
the real one.
Tyreek Hill was in there for the Miami Dolphins, the wide receiver. Yeah.
Really?
They
Wait,
had a whole-
what was he in Austin for?
he went to the Texas game yesterday. I don't know
See,
what.
even people from other schools come to the Texas games because they're so much more entertaining.
He
Hook
went,
'em.
he went to the Texas game and came to Terry Black's. They had a whole section blocked off for him and everything else. I screamed out to him that I knew the Undertaker, but
Yeah,
he was, yeah.
he's probably like,
He was
you
like-
don't know no Undertaker.
He was like, I'm a Brock Lesnar guy. I was like, whoa, hey.
Hey, never mind.
It's all right, cool.
It's all
So,
good.
yeah, go Fins.
Oh my!
But yeah, like a bunch of Texas folks. I don't know former players, if not or whatever, but they got to go sit with him. But yeah, I was Texas yesterday. It was pretty crowded down there with a lot of orange, a lot of burnt orange downtown.
Burnt
yesterday.
orange.
Yeah,
Real
burnt
orange.
Pantone 151. That's the real color.
Whew.
Man, you know the Pantone color and everything.
Well, there's some things you just have to be proud of, and that's one of them.
That's, I call that what, construction orange. Right?
Construction orange. It is how it is.
Road going fast.
Yeah.
Even
Turkey hunting orange. It is high vis. I'll give you that. Yeah, hunter safety orange.
oh my gosh!
It was just easier for the fans, you know. Them rednecks up here at Knoxville, them hillbillies just come out of the woods and just go straight to the
Go
football
straight to the game.
So they're like, we might as well make this our
Right.
school colors.
That ain't
Those are
right,
your
man.
constituents, man. You
on, man.
defend your constituents.
I'm getting beat down. I'm getting stomped by the combat flip flops.
Yeah, just don't take that, man. Just smack him.
No,
Yes,
I would never want to be smacked by
yes. He'd smack you so hard you wouldn't even feel it.
Well, speaking of getting smacked, our boy Gunther won yesterday
Well,
against Randy.
are you shocked?
No. What do you think about Gunther? He's our guy right now.
What do I think about him? I think he's a big raw bone dude. I think he's talented though.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Those chops.
Yeah. You love chops.
Yeah. He'd already had to change his offense. He's working with me. I'd probably give him one or two, but he would exceed the limit
Yes.
really quick, and he would have to come up with something a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I like him. I think he's a kind of a throwback to
Yes.
a different era, and he does. As painful as those chops look, I mean, he actually you think he's beating you down, which he
Exactly,
is.
Yeah.
Without doing a bunch of aerial attack.
Flippy
It's just
doos.
nice to see somebody grind somebody down, and
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to. I think he's going to have to be careful. If he doesn't add a little bit of, needs to add a little more. I think chicken shit to his repertoire, or he's going to become a babyface much sooner than he
Yeah.
expects. That's just the way it is now.
Yeah.
But
But, Randy Orton didn't walk out of that ring last night with his chest bleeding like a lot of opponents. So I think there might have been
I
a couple-
imagine.
Yeah, probably a conversation about that.
Yeah, there was a long conversation. Dude, I'm going to sell for you. You don't have to hit me so many times.
Were you a guy that, if somebody like that was going to, he's known for his chops, were you okay with, lay it in?
Yeah, but then you'd also have to give it back.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I was fine with that, but on the other side is like I'm probably gonna hit you back too. So
Be prepared, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a receipt.
Yeah.
Wait, who'd you give it? Was it Big Show?
It was Big Show.
Yeah, this is a good story.
Yeah. Poor Paul. And I love Paul, man.
We do, but we
He
took it upon ourselves really to try and put him under the learning tree, and
Okay.
And there were some tough lessons.
there were some tough lessons had to be learned, and I think he's appreciative now. Not so much during it, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So
This is a
we
good
were.
story.
We were all. He had some heat anyway. Remember? Because
No.
Yeah. Not him.
No.
He left the WrestleMania earlier or whatever. Remember that? And then
Oh, I thought you were talking about something serious, like trying to palm the 5-5 when we were playing dominoes.
Well, that too,
He almost
yeah.
got beat up over that.
yeah, he did.
It would have took everybody there.
Yeah.
But
So anyway, for some reason, in their infinite wisdom, WWE decides to book a show in Trenton, New Jersey, right before a big pay-per-view at King of the Ring at Meadowlands, which is like 45 minutes down the New Jersey Turnpike. There is no one in Trenton because they're all going the next day to the Meadowlands, right? And then in their infinite wisdom, they book Kane and the Big Show in a steel cage in Trenton with nobody there. There's like 1,500 people there. So I'm already in a not great mood because just all this stuff. I'm like, really, could we not just have like an entertaining night instead of like a steel cage? But and pay-per-view tomorrow. But okay.
I'm sorry not to cut you off. Was it the blue cage? The
the old school.
Yeah,
So
the
the
one
cage.
like if you hit it in any, if you would just brush up against it, you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
There was nothing soft anywhere
Yeah.
in this thing.
Yeah.
So poor Paul, and he's all nervous for some reason. Well, he's all nervous because I said he was trying to fit in, and there had kind of been some stuff anyway.
Kind of a little bit of stuff.
So
nothing we need to elaborate on at the moment.
Yeah. So we get in there, and it's about, I don't know, just 4 or 5 minutes in the match. And he would always say, I'm sorry before he'd chop you in the chest, right? It's preemptive apology because he's about to tater you.
Hit you with a frying pan.
Yeah, I mean, it was like cast iron skillet.
It's like a dad right before he whips you.
Yeah, it's like, bro,
Like,
did you get that thing at Cracker Barrel, or what is that anyway? So he's got all this. We're in a steel cage. He can run me into this. He can do all this stuff, right? All of which I can make look good, but the pain involved is minimal and the discomfort to my body. Well, he bends me over the top rope, and he's like, sorry. And I went, me too. And he had this weird look on his face, like, what do you mean? So he slaps me, and I drilled him right in the face. And we went on about another minute, and that was the end of the match. And then afterwards, though, I thought, he's 7 feet tall and 500 pounds. I don't know if that's the smartest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Sometimes you just got to roll the dice. And if you don't get eaten, then,
I survived. It was good.
and then it helps your street cred down the line. Like,
It was
dang,
good.
man.
It was
Kane,
good.
he blasted Big Show.
Now, what was the conversation in the locker room after that
I was
match?
like, Paul, why did you do that? He's like, why did you punch me? I was like, why did you slap me in the chest when you had all these things that you could run me into and bounce me off of? It was fine. It was fine. It was just another lesson.
Just another lesson.
Yeah, just another lesson. Learning tree.
He learned many.
He did.
He did. Well, see, his very first match ever, he wins the world title.
Yeah.
That's how his career starts in WCW, right?
Okay.
Comes in, I think, I don't know, did he beat Terry? Was that who it
Yeah.
was? Yeah. So he beats
first
Hogan.
night, Hogan.
He beats Terry in his very first match. He beats Hulk Hogan. And then, in that system down there with those personalities and those, man, he was a handful when he come up.
Yeah.
He thought his didn't stink, and it was going to be his way, and he was in for a rude awakening.
And when you're that big, I mean, it just.
Well, yeah, at the time he was a natural bully.
Yeah.
And he would talk to people, and I would just like be, no. That's not how we do not talk about.
Do you remember the SummerSlam that we had in Minneapolis? And it was me and X-Pac against you and Show.
Yes.
You literally slapped him in the middle of the match.
You just slapped your own tag team partner. Was it a hard tag? Was this
It was, come here, whack.
on a pay-per-view? Okay.
I was a little different.
What happened there? What's going on here? Let's lay the groundwork here.
He was doing great. Like he was beating X-Pac up, and then he did something. He stepped on him or something. That
Something
was just
stupid that a
something
giant
dumb.
wouldn't do.
Yeah, I think you told him not to do it before.
I told him not to do it, and it made him look like, being a giant, especially back then. Now it's kind of a curse to be a giant, but
Yeah.
back then, if you were like that big, it's just a blessing. That's just like what Coach John Wooden. You can't teach height, right?
Yeah.
And you can't teach that size. And he's a really good athlete,
Great athlete.
especially for as big as he is. But he's a really good athlete, and he does things. Sometimes he would do things that would just go like, oh, a giant would not do that.
Yeah.
A killer. And that's what we're trying to. We're trying to make him.
Yeah.
And he would do something silly, and then I just like, I would tell people, I would tell like 2 or 3 times, and then finally it's just like, I have to up the stakes here because you're not listening to me, and you're harming your own career, and I'm trying to help you, but you got to listen to me. And I think he did it. I don't even know what he stepped on.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
It was something. I just lost it a little bit.
Yeah. He literally said, "Come here." Bam!
And
granted, 3-on-1 now.
Yeah, granted, like, he could have killed me and ate me, and just.
We were so fortunate he didn't realize how big he really was.
Yeah, I think that was the case. I think we had ganged up on him enough. Like, he knew. All right, if he jumped on me, he was going to have to jump on Kane. He was going to have to jump on Godfather.
Yeah.
So I think there was enough people that like this wasn't worth it.
Thank goodness.
It wasn't worth it. Maybe I should listen. And it's funny because later on, like I would hear him telling some other kid, right? Some of the things that I had told him, and I was just thinking, what a full circle moment. But he was. Yeah, he about sealed his own fate one day. When we used to play dominoes, and there was no money in change. It wasn't money. It was pride.
For pride,
which is far more
important than money.
Yeah. And I think Kane and I were partners. We were playing partners. Kane and I were partners, and Show was playing with somebody else.
Was it A-Train?
May have been A-Train. Yeah. A-Train. And so, once somebody plays your last domino, you add up points, everybody, then the other team, they do the dishes, right? They shake the dominoes. Well, I think Kane I think you're the one that caught him. Anyway, he knew where the double 5 was, and his hands are so big, like he palms the double 5 so that he has it. That's a big score in domino, right? So he's boom, 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 and then he pulls it back, and he gets called out, and oh my, whew. It was not pretty. It was what? My hands are big. They got my hands. And then it made it worse, right? Like, not only are you cheating, now you're going to lie when you're cold busted. I think that may have been one of the most mad that I actually ever was at him for real. Like, is trying to cheat at dominoes. It was you don't cheat at dominoes. I don't care integrity. I don't care what you do outside in the bars or whatever else. Just don't cheat on the domino table. And I think he got banned for a while. I don't think he was allowed to play for a while because he'd walk by all mopey.
So this didn't have to go to wrestler's court at all. This was
the judge summary judgment.
It was right then and there.
Yeah,
it was.
So were you ever part of any wrestler's courts?
No, I was a bailiff once.
Okay,
a good role for you.
I mean that's
and I obviously I wasn't involved in any of the prosecution or any of the actual undertaking of the. Justice being served. It was Brian Gerwitz, who was one of the writers, and he was accused, I think, of having too cozy a relationship with Edge and Christian by Bob Holly, of all people.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah. Wow.
That's not going to turn out good.
Yeah. So I was in charge of keeping order in the courtroom. I didn't really do anything, but I just...
Well, I mean, you didn't have to.
That
When
was
you're
a really
standing
big,
there, you're not going to have to.
That was big. That was a big turnout, too.
Yeah,
that room was full. Everybody was there.
And Brian didn't know... actually how you survive wrestler's court, which is with Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels, and sorry to everybody. It's usually
takes care of it. He didn't understand that. So he's actually trying to make a defense case. I'm sitting there like,
all he had to do is just bring a bottle of
bribe
Jack.
the judge, dude. Yeah, and you're good.
Bailiff's over there going,
Just bribe the judge.
Yeah, just bribe the judge, and you're good.
He's easy. Just shut up. No, quit. You're making it worse.
You are making it worse. Just get the Jack Daniels,
shut up.
and you'll be
just
fine.
Shut up. Get him whiskey, say you're sorry, everything will be great.
That's simple.
It's all it took. But
yeah. When did y'all first meet? Mark, we got a new sponsor,
We do, man. This is a big one.
DraftKings.
DraftKings.
This weekend, got something big happening and partnering up with DraftKings on it.
Good way to kick it off. Creatures of the night. You know how much I love the UFC, the most anticipated MMA event in recent history. Noche UFC is going down in Las Vegas this weekend, and I'm pumped to see who comes out on top. I've partnered up with DraftKings, and they have an offer that's perfect if you're looking to get closer to the action. Right now, all new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $250 in bonus bets. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using my promo code 6feet. The crown is yours. That's $250 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. Thanks to DraftKings for sponsoring this episode. I think it was on a Tinder date, right? No,
Oh, jeez.
What the hell?
Oh, jeez.
Wait. No, that wasn't. No, that was sorry. That wasn't you. I'm sorry.
Maybe another tall,
right,
muscular
okay,
guy. I don't know.
This is why I drink Happy Dad. Moments like this.
Hang on. Let me think. You came in for a tryout, right?
I did come in for a tryout. Yeah, the first time I ever saw you in person was someplace like Glen Falls, New York, or something like that at TV taping, and it was wild, man. I've always been an Undertaker fan. You know, I thought that was ever since his debut. I was like, that's the greatest wrestling character of all time, right? So yeah, I come in for a tryout. And I didn't know Mark, and he's walking down the hallway, but he's already in his Undertaker stuff. It was a little freaky, actually. It was, because he's still wearing like the white face and all, you know, all the stuff, and I'm just going, oh man, wow, does he really look like?
Does he walk around like this all the time?
Dude, he is screwed up, man.
He's messed up. Yeah, so that was the first time like we ever met, and then, you know, of course, we ran cross paths when I was smoking. We came down for the Pikeville, Kentucky.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah,
You and
Pikeville,
Paul.
Kentucky. That
And
was.
and we just.
Those are, you know, I miss those Pikevilles.
Oh, I do too, man.
I mean, it'd be a high school gym, sold out, just.
I was talking to someone the other day, and you know, one of the things, the differences between WWE and other touring entertainment is they never go to places like that.
Yeah.
You know, so that was what was cool about us, is we would get to go to some of these places that were not big markets. We would do well there,
Yeah.
you know, but they're not huge markets. But these folks never got to see AC/DC or Bon Jovi, but
The circus
they got to,
or anything, yeah.
they got to
But
see
we sure hit 'em.
Undertaker in Austin, and so that was always one of the. I enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
Getting to go to the smaller areas,
The
and smaller
CYC
venues.
there in
Yeah.
Scranton.
Oh gosh, yeah. And those are some of the best crowds too, man.
Yeah.
Because they were.
They're right on top of you. Like the small venues where they have balcony. Like, honestly, you feel like you could reach up and like slap somebody. Like the original where we started Raw at the theater.
Yeah.
Or like ECW's like
Yeah,
original place where,
Yeah, those.
When
were
they're,
cool.
I mean, when you can feel them like that, that's cool. Usually now, you know, the arenas are so spread out.
Yeah.
And you know, dang it, you know, where am I at? Is anybody running?
$80.
I'm at $80.
yeah, that's his cuss jar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's my tick, and every time I say it, I have to put money in the urn,
Yeah.
and then we're going to give it away at some point. Hopefully, to break my bad habit, not being a good speaker.
Hit him in the pocketbook and he straightens up. So did you guys meet during a tryout? Is that
Yeah.
what year was that?
That was like 92 or 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you were trying out for WWE at that point, yeah. And then what was your first time actually, like when did you actually get a deal to be able to be a professional wrestler?
It's like, when did I get trained and all that?
Yeah, like
or-
when was all?
So my,
what
well,
year
my
was
first
that?
full-time job was in Puerto Rico. That would have been 1994. Okay. Before that, I was kind of just doing independence and
Yeah.
you know, just doing whatever work I could. I started training like 91, and then, like I said, from there. Back then, what you would do was, we didn't have like the performance or anything like that. I mean, you would get a little bit of training, and you would just start.
Yeah.
You know,
You
hit the
to
road.
try and find
It
some
was
place to
all-
get booked. Yeah.
Exactly. It was all on the job.
Do you remember your first match?
Yeah, I do. It was at the, it was in St. Louis, Missouri at the time as a Stegton banquet hall, overlooking the Missouri River.
Banquet hall.
Yeah.
Mine was in the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah. It was a nice wedding venue.
Do you remember who you wrestled?
He has a guy called the Night Master.
The Night Master.
Yeah, he's the guy that he'd give me a little training and stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, he had a barn. It was like close to Kingdom City, Missouri, which is literally smack dab in the middle of Missouri. And he had a barn, and in the barn, he had a hayloft. That's where the ring was.
In the hayloft?
In the hayloft. That was my first lesson.
Second level, second floor here?
Brother, yeah, bro.
That's take a bad bump.
That's some trust right there. That's a good barn.
Yeah.
Oh my! Who was the first quote unquote real, like where you walked in the ring, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm standing in front of this guy.
Oh man, it's Lawler actually.
Yeah.
Well, I went down and did some shots for them as the Christmas tree.
I've got a list of your
I may as well just preemptively take care of that. But yeah, no, seriously, I mean, because Lawler was like a huge deal.
Yep.
I mean, you'd seen him, especially, this is back early 90s, so it wasn't that long removed from the Andy Kaufman stuff and all that, and he was legendary, man. So, and it was like in Kennett, Missouri, so it was one of those little bitty towns that we were talking about before. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, man, this is Jerry Lawler. How awesome is this? Yeah, and I'm dressed as a Christmas tree. That's not quite as awesome, but it's cool.
Yeah.
So
You got to look at the positive, right?
Exactly.
Everybody loves Christmas.
So you were the Christmas creature.
yes.
How many matches did you?
Oh man, that only lasted
short
about,
runs.
Yeah, it only lasted about 2 weeks.
only a season.
Yeah, it was only the holiday season.
October, he's like jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, thank goodness they didn't call me like Easter and have me like the
The bunny.
bunny for like
You guys
Christmas
were
story.
so close to being like. Your tag team could have been like the holidays or something. The Christmas creature. You're the turkey egg.
It could have been, yeah, man.
I mean, you could have been Eggman that comes out of the turkey from Thanksgiving.
We could have ruined all of them. We could have
Oh
ruined
my gosh!
all the
Y'all could have been a
holidays.
holiday tag team here.
Yeah,
And
that'd have been terrible.
It would have been awful. We would have been able to. We wouldn't have been able to get booked.
early on, you definitely had some different characters. I'm gonna name off a couple that I found online here. Okay, we've got Angus King.
Yes. Yeah, that was my own name because I was a fan of AC/DC, so it was
Angus.
Angus, and
I
Angus
had
just sounded
AC/DC
cool.
playing in the car on the way here.
Yeah, and I was just I just made that one up myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had Bruiser Mastino.
That was one match. That was a joke, actually, on me.
Okay.
I had a match against Sting in WCW. It was my only match in WCW.
And it was against Sting.
Mm-hmm.
You wrestled Sting, and this guy did.
I wrestled Sting.
Well, over there, but not as Undertaker.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ain't my fault.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Why you starting to start?
I'm just, hey, the fans want what they want.
Wait, you know what? You can want in one hand and crap in the other. Let's see which one fills
you
up
not
faster.
cussing over here. You got the mayor in town.
That's right.
and yeah.
But I'll say this about Sting. He was awesome. I was absolute nobody.
Yeah.
It's just a job match. And he was great. And afterwards, came in and said I did a good job and thanked me and everything. So he was really cool and very classy about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, the Christmas tree creature.
It's just Christmas creature, but I look like
Or Christmas creature, yes.
My mom made that outfit.
Wow.
She did.
Your mom had
My mom made the outfit.
I remember that.
And it even had integrated lights. So you know how Jericho had his cute little jacket? I beat him to it with my Christmas lights. So I'm the Christmas creature.
Your lights worked? I didn't
My
know
lights
that.
worked. I had a battery pack and everything. And my mom did that.
Did you actually wear the outfit in the ring wrestle as a Christmas
Yes.
tree?
I wore the
This
outfit
wasn't
around
a
the
thing
house,
that
Do you
man.
not know anything about
I've never seen this. I've never.
Lawler's territory?
I was dressed as a Christmas tree in the ring, Matt, with lights. It looked like a swamp thing because it kind of had
The swamp thing.
the garland kind of made the face look like the swamp creature.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The garland. And
A lot went into
had
that.
Wait, didn't you have like peppermint socks
I
on?
did have peppermint socks, yes. Yes, it was
That's awesome.
it was straight out of Dr. Seuss.
Oh,
I was like the Grinch that stole Christmas, just bigger and not as
Big
talented.
Grinch.
what we do for money.
Wow.
You're right.
That's great. That's
You
awesome.
were
I forgot about the peppermint socks.
you were Doomsday. Mm-hmm. Okay, how long of a run did that have?
That was actually Puerto Rico and then USWA. So that was on and off for a couple years. That was Doomsday at the time. Doomsday was he killed Superman in DC Comics.
Okay.
So I thought that's pretty cool. Yeah.
You killed Superman.
Yeah. I killed a couple territories with that one.
Beat me to it.
Darn it.
Then you were Mike Unabomb.
No. There's never that's not true.
So that's not a real one.
No.
Were you Unabomb?
Unabomb, yes.
Okay, so you weren't Mike Unabomb.
No.
All right, I thought you just got creative there and added or took down the mic.
No.
Sid Powers?
Nope.
Never a Sid Powers.
Nope.
Spartacus?
Yes, that was Germany.
Okay.
Avance thought that was a cool name, so he called me Spartacus, and then
That's
everybody's
pretty
like,
cool
"I
name.
am Spartacus. I am
I am
Spartacus.
Spartacus.
Yes.
And then, of course, everyone knows the Isaac Yankem.
Yep.
Yeah, DDS.
Yeah.
You were Fake Diesel. Mm-hmm. And then finally Kane.
Yes.
Do
Now
you-
ask me which one was my favorite.
Which one is your favorite?
That's a Kane. No, Kane.
But if you think about it, your career, you probably went through more tough gimmicks than probably any other professional.
Nah, I
wrestler.
don't know about that. I mean,
Really?
yeah. I had a few that were not. The one thing you have to remember is just starting out, so you just get everything everything you could. So I don't know that I had. I mean, I had some that weren't great, obviously, but you have I think a Terry Taylor and like the Red Rooster and
Right.
Fred Ottman and
Yeah.
the whole Shockmaster thing. So I had my fair share, but I don't know if I had the most or the worst actually.
Yeah, well, I will just say though, it's amazing that you were able to go on and take Kane to the levels. Well, I mean, Isaac Yankem. I mean, you're a huge human being, so you already catch people's attention. But
Yeah.
so Isaac Yankem, and then Fake Diesel. I mean, those are nails in the coffin
For a lot of careers.
for a lot of careers.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the right attitude.
Yeah.
And the right mindset. No,
because also,
It was a little demoralizing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
and I mean,
yeah.
that's the whole thing. Like when you're in a character like Isaac Yankem, I mean, you've got to be thinking, they're not going to put the title on Isaac Yankem.
Yeah, you have to realize where your ceiling is right away
Yeah.
when you get a gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you who I would have never thought would get to the heights from where he started would be, like Triple H.
Yeah.
The fancy blue blood Connecticut, Rudy Poo.
Yeah.
To take it to
Yeah.
become the game and all of that. That's a really unusual kind of deal to be able to take something and for him to stay Triple H the whole time.
Yeah.
And take it from being this thing to riding in on WrestleMania on a big
Yeah.
skulled out chopper was a testament to.
Were you ever, when you were like Isaac Yankem,
I think one thing, I'm sorry to interrupt. I
No,
think
you're
one
good.
thing to keep in mind is, the business was evolving, just they were taking it different directions. And when I first came in as the Isaac Yankem character in '95, it was very PG.
Yeah.
And it was very cartoon,
Yes.
literally cartoon driven. So you had like T.H. Hopper, the Thug, just all these really over the top, literal characters.
comic book
Yes,
feel to it?
and
Yeah.
that's where the company was really going. And then I think what happened was they realized that with Austin, and I think Austin was a bit of a mistake. I don't want to say a mistake; it was an accident. In that,
Yeah, I don't think they-
Okay,
yeah.
This guy's catching fire, and he's doing it by being very cutting edge and very real.
Yeah.
As opposed to these over here, and that's when everything shifted. When they realized too, and then WCW was starting to make their run, and they realized, okay, we have to do something different. A
little bit more reality based,
and
yeah.
I understand what,
Yeah.
and then they've done it. Kind of every once in a while they kind of go that direction because they're trying to get, just make it more family friendly, and obviously, that's a huge consumer base. But that's where we were at that point. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to stick this kid with a terrible gimmick. It was like, we think this is great because it's kind of, the epitome of where everything's going right now. I just couldn't sink my teeth into it.
No, but
but I'm up to.
Now, when you were like Isaac Yankem and you were these other characters, were you ever sitting there thinking, I know I got more?
Oh, yeah. God, yeah.
Yeah, I've got more than this.
Literally, when they told me the Isaac Yankem deal, I was like, really? Really? I'm 6'8" and 300 pounds, and you're going to make me a wrestling dentist?
Kids are scared of dentists.
Maybe.
So, yes. And then you see like Undertaker and, just all these other like cool characters, and I was like, yeah, man, this is, there has to be something more for this. So unfortunately, almost immediately I was like, yeah, this is just not going to work for me.
Yeah. Were you ever watching guys like Taker and just trying to pull a little bit from what they were doing?
I stole everything from him.
Well,
I mean, Tombstone, the choke slam. I took it all.
The Kane character was actually really easy for you.
It was Undertaker repackaged.
Okay, all I got to do is I'm going to give him on this video game real quick. One of these moves. All right,
Pretty much,
I'm good.
I was like, oh, he does that. Okay, I'll do that.
That's funny.
I don't have to come up with anything. This is awesome. When did they come to you and both of y'all about the Kane character? When did that happen?
That was after I had gone back. You were back in Tennessee as Unabomb, and they sent me down because they were doing great business already, from what I gathered, and they asked if I would go down and work with him, and he'd come a long way from when his tryout to where he was then, and I went back and I was like, we got to get this guy up here. He's just like, he's back then I don't know how they do it. They even worry about it, or they just figure somebody's good. But back in the day, man, you look for people that you could work with. And I went down there and we tore it down at the Civic Center in Knoxville. And I went back and I was like, we got to get this guy's ready for the show. And I think it wasn't too much longer.
Yeah, it came up.
Yeah.
Well, but then that was when we had the Isaac Yankem and all that, characters.
Oh, that's
right.
Oh,
yeah.
You
so
came up from
that
Isaac.
got me in.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. I'm twisted.
But I was back in Tennessee.
That's right.
But I was working with Lawler, actually.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't remember when. I don't know when they told you. I can't remember. It was when Vader had gotten arrested in Kuwait, and
that's right.
That was kind of the impetus for the whole
Vader
deal.
got arrested in Kuwait.
Oh, that's a different. That's
that's a great story.
All right. Okay.
I don't know, should we tell that story before we get into the?
Yeah, that's a much better story, actually.
Because I'm a huge Vader fan. And,
this is great.
And I've been to Kuwait, and
All right, so at the time, I happened to be world champion, right? So we're in Kuwait. I think we had been to India. We'd been to a bunch of different places, but we're in Kuwait, and we're basically doing the equivalent of one of the morning shows here, like Good Morning America, whatever, right? It's the Kuwaiti version. And so there's the interviewer is sitting directly across from me. There's a table, and then there's a couch over here where Vader is sitting, he's sitting much closer to the interviewer than I am. I'm the farthest away, and we're promoting that me and him I'm going to defend the title tonight against Vader. And so we're doing our regular spiel, and I'm not saying a whole lot, but I'm saying just enough to stay in character and promote and everything else. And then the guy asked the question. He just couldn't help himself. He just had to ask, like, well, isn't it fake?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now so I'm sitting, I'm about like this. I'm sitting like this. I've got the belt sitting in my lap like this. I've got my hat, my shades on, and I'm just sitting there. And this guy, now on the outside, I look as cool as can be, right? Now on the inside, I'm like, oh no, he didn't. Because I knew what Leon was going to do, and he did. Yep. He set up on the edge of that thing, and he grabbed that guy, thank goodness. I mean, I think he just shook him a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't hit
but
him.
the guy didn't appreciate getting manhandled like that one bit.
Well, yeah.
So then they shut everything down. And Jerry Briscoe was he was the producer that was with us, the road agent. He got me, grabbed me, told me to get in the car like right away. So
It was awesome because the whole time, like, Leon's got the guy, Mark's just sitting there like this.
and I'm like, oh,
Never
Leon.
broke.
I never broke character. I'm like, oh, Leon. I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, Leon, please let him go. Don't hit him, Leon. Please don't hit him. Oh my gosh, they're gonna behead him.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
our great sponsor here, Artisan Grange. We've talked about them for a while now. These guys got a little CBD pouch, 5 milligrams, great flavors.
Which flavor is this?
This is the wintergreen. So if you're trying to come off dip or anything like that, you're gonna have to cut. These are brand new cans. Artisan Grange help you out. Ooh, look at you with your knife. I've seen you sitting over there with that today.
I thought I might need it.
Artisan Grange is a company started when a group of former tobacco dippers wanted a dip alternative that actually tasted like tobacco. So they decided to make one on one condition. It supports American farmers. No matter what your taste, hemp dip satisfies without tobacco, nicotine, or fake fillers. Each pouch contains 5 milligrams of full spectrum CBD from the hemp. The community of hemp dippers who have switched from tobacco and other alternatives is a proud group of dippers who have pride in dipping as a simple pleasure again. One you can do because you want to, not because you have to, and supporting the American tradition of farm quality. So, thank you, Artisan Grange, for sending us this product. You gotten in there yet?
I can't get in.
What is? Man. You can tell you're from the West Coast over here in Texas.
The West Coast. The Southwest Coast.
It smells good. Smells like a wintergreen.
Did you get one?
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
That's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, thank you, Artisan Grange, once again for supporting 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway.
Thank you, Artisan Grange.
Yeah, they'll do something. I'm thinking all the worst things are about to happen to Vader because he just grabbed this guy, and I was so all hell's breaking loose, right, Jerry? Jerry's trying to get me in the car to get me out of there, and Leon comes up to him and he goes, "Take, what do I do?" And I was like, "Dude, you've done it, brother. Way to take up for the business." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, don't let him push you around." Then I'm getting pulled out. I'm getting pulled out of it.
Let him push you around.
Don't let him push you around. And they pull me out, put me in the car, and the car speeds off like a movie. And I'm looking back at Leon. Yeah,
What
he
in prison?
he had to stay. We went home. He had to stay like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, we're like at the hotel, like the Kuwaiti army's here to arrest my Vader.
Oh God!
Remember, they do these graphics on Raw, and it's like a picture of Leon, like, boom, he's in jail.
He's in jail in Kuwait. We're back doing TV.
So he's in jail in Kuwait, and there's no one to work with Undertaker. And that's where they kind of came up with the idea for Kane. And then I can remember who I talked to, if it was Bruce or who, from a payphone in like Jackson, Tennessee, and he's like, "Hey, we want to do this thing," and I'm like, "That's awesome." And then initially it was just supposed to be like
one-off.
Yeah, it was a one-off, and then Vince, I guess, liked the idea so much that.
Well, there was a
decided to
little
run
bit of
with
a
it.
reaction.
Yeah, I
from
think what happened
Was
in
the
that
debut.
cage that night. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that won the audience over very much. So.
Yeah, that was. You just know, like when you're in there, you do certain things, and some you don't have to say it because obviously there was no words spoken, but you just have a feel when something special's about to happen or there's the potential for it. And that night, man, it was. You could feel it. It
What was the
palpable.
conversation in the locker room before?
I don't really.
Before yours and Sean's match.
I don't know that we really spoke a lot other than what we were going to do.
Yeah. We didn't. Now, one of the cool things though is people ask where the pyro cue came from, right?
Yeah.
And that was all him. He's like everything. Kane is the opposite of Undertaker. So at the time he would go out, and this is before you almost got your face burnt off the one time, but he would go out and lift the lights, and there'd be a concussion and flame projectors on the corners of the ring. And he's like, why don't you do the opposite? So it was up and then down and then boom and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so that was all his idea. And I think, but we walked through it, and that was really about it. I don't think we talked about it.
I think our biggest concern was the door, making sure the door he was going to rip the door off.
Yeah.
That was the biggest concern. And then when you're out there and you're in it and we're face to face, you can just feel the buzz. And
Because at that point, you've got a Hall of Fame career kind of already in the sack, in my opinion. And so for you though, that was.
Dad had a Hall of Shame career up until that point, so
You did have a Hall of Shame. But this has got to be for you walking out there like, holy crap!
Oh yeah,
this is what I've been chasing.
Well, it was awesome, but then it was also like, why'd those guys have to have such good match too? It's like, and this is, it was a big deal. What WWE I think had done really well is they planted the seeds for Kane, but then they went away from it, and
so you forget.
You forgot,
and
right?
you get lost in the match, right? Because at that point, Sean and I had a really long history, and we'd been involved in this angle for such a long time, and like you said, we just planted some seeds along the way, a couple of promos from Paul Bearer, but you get lost in that match, and Undertaker finally getting his hands on Shawn Michaels without any chance of interference and what's going to happen, and exactly what was supposed to happen was happening. I was beating him, to an inch of his life, and then
I messed it up.
he just screwed the whole thing up.
Yeah.
So
In a good way.
Yeah, in a very good way. It changed the hands of time.
But man, I was like, good Lord, these guys are having one of the greatest matches ever, and I'm gonna go out there and just mess the whole thing up. That was my biggest concern.
The door's not gonna come off.
Yes. Oh gosh. So
that'd be worse than the Shockmaster tripping.
Yes.
What's he shaking the door for?
Ooh, that's intimidating.
Oh yeah.
You've got some dude come up and upset with a key. It's not very. It's like, hang on one second, guys.
He's got like 50 keys. He's going
through all of them.
Paul's are like, son.
Oh, you lost the keys. You're standing in that ring and y'all are facing off with each other. What was going through your head at that moment? Because I feel like this is finally your moment.
Yeah, no, that was the first time I felt like a real WWE superstar.
Yeah.
Because you had just, again, all the buzz and all the, man, when I first walked out, it was amazing because the place just went silent. No one knew what was going on, right? And then literally it was almost like the people with one mind realized what was happening, because obviously the folks in the arena couldn't hear the announcers.
Yeah.
So they had to figure it out themselves. But it was just an eruption. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, so you have that adrenaline at that point too, because you realize, wow, this is working, so yeah, it was probably the first time that I felt like I belonged there, and not just as, kind of an also-ran character, but in the spotlight.
Yeah.
What was also really, really, really cool about the fact is you're debuting a new character. It's not like somebody had worked somewhere else and is coming in and it's all been stooged off by. This is an introduction of a brand new character. I was able to do it as Undertaker, and now here it's come around again, full circle, and get that kind of buzz, that kind of feel from a character they have nothing. They're not. It's completely brand new to them. So it can go either one of two ways. They can either crap on it or like, holy crap, which they did. They were just like mesmerized. And then when he got into the ring and we're face to face and they can see how big he is just like, oh, this is going to be
and
good.
Then his expressions and the way he sold it was amazing. And really, that's actually what sold the whole deal. Because, like, you know, the Undertaker never gets confused. The Undertaker never looks anxious.
Never looks scared.
Never looks scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here he is, you know, with those emotions. And that's actually, I think, what was the most important part. Because if I had to come out and he'd just been like, oh, who's the big guy? You know, but no big deal. But the way he sold it, everybody's like, oh, even the Undertaker is like intimidated by whoever this is. Oh, that's got to be Kane, right? So it was just very well done by everyone involved, I think.
Yeah.
What were the conversations like when it came to how you were going to work in the ring? Because it was, I mean, how did you feel about the fact that this guy's going to be using your finisher, this guy's going to use a lot of your moves, or did you just go, this makes sense?
It makes perfect sense. Why? You have to realize, like, if you go into the layers of this story, like Paul Bearer for all of these years was supposed to have had him kept away and turning him into this killing machine, this monster that he's going to unleash one day. So when you start thinking about it, the layers of this, of course he's going to have watched. He's going to watch everything I've done.
Yeah.
And he's going to be bigger than I am. He's going to be able to do them better than I can. It just makes the story that much richer. And then by the time we actually got to Mania, which is the first time that we end up working as Kane against Undertaker, I have a viable opponent that, like, this guy's, he might have his hands full here.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we were able to create. So
Did you ever pick his brain on actually using those moves? Like, how do you do this?
It wasn't, well, no, it wasn't so much the moveset as it was the attitude and just the mindset, right? And also, you know, every once in a while I'd have to go to him and say, hey, so-and-so doesn't want to do, because I'd have to look really strong. I'm, you know, going to WrestleMania at the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, Mark, so-and-so doesn't want to do business. It was like, okay, if they don't have me, you know, send them to me and I'll talk to them. Okay. So I go back and say, hey, Mark says to do this. Okay. That happened a lot too. But no, it wasn't, seriously, it wasn't so much as the move set as it was the stuff like that. It was actually creating the character, you know. And all too often now, I think one of the things that, not to speak for you, but I think you'd agree with this about the wrestling business, is it's gotten so much to be about the moves and not about the story and the characters. Yes, and that's, you know, that's what it was all about. The moves were really secondary. You know, if I'd have done different moves, okay, you know, there was a reason for doing the same one, and that he did. That's exactly what he just explained. That really, you know, I was like a copycat killer, okay, doing the same things and proving that I could do it better than he could. But the harder part was understanding the character and understanding the story that we were trying to tell.
You guys never had to touch each other for, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, well, I mean, that was the story. Like, he's trying to provoke me into this fight, and I'm trying. Like, I've just got dropped on me. This brother that I thought I lost all these years ago is alive. So I'm trying to process that while he's trying to kill me, and you know, he forced my hand into. That's where I finally had to take the fight. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I mean, it's just, man, it's. I mean, we often say it, and I don't put my stuff over very much, but it definitely, I feel like one of the best stories.
Yeah,
it's not one of the best. It's the greatest story in wrestling history.
I'd say it's the greatest ever. Yeah,
yeah.
For as long as it lasted, too.
Yeah.
Do you guys? And I think this is potentially a question in the Q&A section, but I was thinking about this too. Do you wish that your singles run against each other before you became Brothers of Destruction actually lasted maybe a little bit longer than it did?
I don't know, only in the sense of, like, we needed the depth of not us being separate with different people.
Yeah.
I think it was a tremendous way to debut Glenn. There's not a better way to, strap the rocket, to his ass.
yeah.
To, I think it was another one.
$100, man.
Man,
At $100, making all
Anyway.
kinds of money over here with the knows.
I was doing so well. I was doing so well, but
were
now
doing
I,
so
I
well.
catch myself now when I do
Yeah.
it. But it was just always there too. Like you have to think about how long. We would work, and then we would move away from each other. Then we'd come back to each
Yeah.
other. Like we had a run late, and
Yeah.
even in the 2000s when you were
Yeah.
champion,
Yes.
I couldn't beat him. Like everything, I think you beat me three straight pay-per-views.
3 in a row. That's
It was just always. It was always smoldering. Like if you needed it, we can throw some gas on it. Either way, either as a tag team or 1-on-1.
Did you enjoy working as a tag team, or did you enjoy the singles matches more?
both.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the singles matches, but I did enjoy the tag team more because that was. I felt that part of the audience, once the single matches were almost just like the prelude to the actual the really cool stuff, which was let's just see Kane and Undertaker destroy everybody. The problem we had with the tag team matches, then we were just both so strong characters that literally it always turned into handicap matches. We couldn't have like a normal
Yeah.
tag match
Yeah.
because
Nobody's going to be.
yeah, 'cause
beats
no one
us?
could beat us when it's
Right.
both of us. So generally it'd end up, which, is a story to itself, but after a while, there's only so much of those that you could do.
Yeah.
And I'd argue too with us as singles as well, there's only so much we could do. Our styles are a lot alike anyway. We're big guys, both of us. It's almost like after you'd seen one, you're going to kind of probably see variations of that, but it's not like we could do a bunch of different
Yeah.
things. It's cool you could do the gimmick matches. I mean, my favorite match of all time, at least in my top 2 or 3, is the Inferno match. 'Cause I thought it was a really good match, but
Yeah.
then you also add the element of having, the really cool gimmick and all the
The
stuff. that went
visuals
along.
of the,
Yes.
the fire.
How was it like being
Yeah.
in the ring, though?
Not a lot of air in there.
Yeah. It was hot.
It was hot.
It was like really hot.
Yeah, and that wasn't a 5-minute match. It wasn't a 2-minute match. It was,
No.
You guys were in there for a while.
And you couldn't, you couldn't get that close to the flames because if you did, you were going to get burnt. It was,
light you
it
up.
was pretty intense.
Yeah. That's
And
whose
you know,
idea
my-
was it for that match, by the way? What was
it
the
wasn't mine.
Wasn't mine.
In fact, I think
Somebody-
we both went, what? You're going to put us in a barbecue pit?
Usually something like that is done from somebody that's not going to be anywhere close to
Yes.
that match. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think-
we both were like, what in the world were you talking about?
Like, what? Light on fire. To look,
Yeah.
Are y'all crazy?
Well,
we have to do this.
Yes. And here, I keep on just having this thought, like, how did I get knocked out of the ring? Did I get knocked off the top rope to the floor, I think? But then you did the jump.
I did the leap.
And
yeah.
all I could think of is like, what happens if someone's foot gets caught in the rope and they go down in the? I was like, that's a really bad day, man.
2 inches away?
Yeah, exactly.
At any given
Sometimes.
time.
Yeah, there was that. I mean, legitimate element. Anytime you get in the ring, obviously there's a level of danger and just cause. Even the most simple move you can get hurt on. But when you're talking about that, putting basically a grate with fire around the ring, and now you have to do all this stuff. Okay,
We did it.
We did it.
Yeah. Okay.
we
well,
did
let's
it.
do it.
Yeah, and when they looked at you and said, "And by the way, you're the one that's going to catch on fire," what was your reaction to that? Like,
Okay, so here's the deal. And this is one of the great stories of all time.
Mark, you like to work out.
Yeah, I love to work out.
Yeah. So, a lot of times when you work out, one of the probably the scariest things you could do is potentially rip all the skin off of your finger
Yeah.
from your wedding ring. So,
Yes, I've done that actually.
really?
Yeah. Getting it caught or getting the weight. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that happens. Mm-hmm. So, That's why we've teamed up with QALO. Get them wedding rings. You want to go to the gym and still be fully committed to your significant other?
Yes, sir.
Because, I mean, I walk in the gym just like this.
Like, I'm like,
Hey,
I mean, yeah.
that's essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
my gym's at my house, but I'm still,
And you still got to do it
I
there.
still got to do it there.
My God. Well, QALO, they want to ask you this. Are you an active person who loves to stay on the move but still wants to show your commitment? I know I am. Then you need a QALO silicone ring. QALO rings are designed for those who live life to the fullest. Whether you're hitting the gym, hiking up mountains, or just need a comfortable alternative to traditional metal rings. Made from the high-quality, durable silicone, QALO rings are not only stylish but also safe and comfortable to wear in any activity.
Absolutely.
Show your commitment without compromising on comfort. Our wives like that part, that commitment. Check out QALO Rings today and embrace your adventure with confidence. We're going to hook people up too. Click on the link in the description. Use our code, Undertaker25.
That's it, baby. That's the year of the Undertaker.
The year of the Undertaker. Undertaker 25. QALO, thank you so much for supporting 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway.
We greatly appreciate it.
So it's in Greensboro, North Carolina. I think it's the pay-per-view right after our WrestleMania match, or close to that, you know. And so we had that was Sunday. Saturday we have a show, I think, in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So you weren't on the one in Fayetteville, but they'd booked like Austin and all these, you know, Rock, I think, and all these guys. So I'm supposed to be wrestling Vader in Fayetteville, and we're also going to do a walkthrough of the Inferno match in Greensboro. So they're like, what we're going to do is we'll have a car take you and Paul to Fayetteville. They'll pick you up at Greensboro, take you to Fayetteville. You'll be on first. You have a quick match with Vader, come back to Fayetteville, and then you guys can rehearse and do whatever. Because we hadn't even seen the setup.
Yeah, we have no idea.
We don't even know
No
what it
clue.
looks like. So Paul and I jump in this dadgum like 1967 Cadillac. Limo. It was the worst limousine I've ever seen in my entire life. It looked like Dustin's car from the Backyard Brawl. Like it was gold. It was ridiculous. Windows wouldn't roll down. So we take off.
awesome.
Driver's driving us. Paul and I, we've been on the road. We fall asleep, right? So we're pulling up. You know, I wake up. We're pulling up. We got to put money in there. Sorry, I said you know. But we're pulling up to wherever. It looked like the arena in Fayetteville, and we realized we're not in Fayetteville. Okay, we'd gone 2 hours the wrong way.
Oh my God.
Now this is before cell phones and GPS and all that, right?
Oh my gosh.
So we've got to find a gas station. Paul calls the office. You're like, we went 2 hours the wrong way, you know. And it wasn't us. You hired this car. So we've got to have you there because like Austin he'd been advertised but couldn't have been there, right?
Yeah.
All this stuff. So we have to have you there. I'm like, okay. So we take off. Now we're driving 4 hours the other way. Okay. I'm getting dressed in the car, get out, run into the building. Like Leon and I start fighting in the back. We fight out to the ring. We roll through the ring. We fight to the back. I get back in the car. I was there like total of 5 minutes. We drive back to Greensboro. And by this time, it's like 1:30 in the morning. And like, yeah, we're not going to do the rehearsal tonight. So like, come on, man. So the next day we finally get to see this apparatus, which like we are putting our lives right there. And they're like, okay, now Glenn, go out and work with the stunt guys, and they're gonna show you how to do a burn. This is like 4 hours before the match, okay?
Yep.
So, but we had like, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but we had like this fake sleeve. They can do the technology for the fire is a lot better now. They can actually put the gel on your skin and do the burn on your skin, which is wild. But anyway, so we had like this, like we had a Nomax sleeve with all this cooling gel, all this stuff, so I don't get burnt. And that's, I had to roll, like put my arm under the ring and they switch it out. He's fighting. That's where he like put the snare drum on Paul Bearer's head, which is awesome. And he's fighting with Leon, fighting with Paul Bearer. So I'm in the back of the Greensboro Coliseum with these stunt guys, you know, and they're putting this stuff in my arm. and they're getting ready to light my arm, right? And they're like, so when are we doing this? I'm like, tonight. And they're like, if we were to do this for a movie, it would be like a 2-week setup. I was like, we got 3 hours, guys.
Welcome to the WWE.
Yes, welcome to the WWE.
So they light my arm on fire, and I'm sitting there looking at my arm, and it's on fire. And I go to move, like, no, don't move that way. You'll inhale the flames. You got to keep you got to keep your arm behind you and your head like this, because if you move this way, it'll go right in your mouth. Yeah. So, and then, and as soon as you start feeling any sort of tingling, hit the deck, and we'll come out and we'll spray you with fire extinguishers. But you have to do it. You can't wait, because once you start feeling tingling, that means the cooling gel's evaporated, and you're about 2 seconds away from 3rd-degree burns. Yes!
Exciting.
I'm like, now, I have to keep all this in mind while I'm also having a match with him, doing all these things. And then what happens is, man, we do the deal. I'm getting ready to get lit on fire. He's punching me, kind of driving me back. And this hand, it's kind of dead, because this is the hand that's got all the stuff on it to do the burn. And I'm really trying to exaggerate getting hit with this hand. Well, then I throw this hand in the dadgum fire. And this is not protected. So then I'm like, ah! And then he hits me. I'm throwing this one.
Oh, gosh.
The things that we would do for money. Yeah, man, we didn't even get to see it. When did you even see the thing, man?
Not till I walked out, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, people are always like, did you
One of those
rehearse?
big
I was like,
Foley moments where
Yeah.
you walk out, you're like, oh crap, why are you up there?
How much time do you take to rehearse? Well, apparently not enough on that one. But.
So what they did is they had a switch where they'd hit the switch, and then everything would blow up. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it would kind of go back. They were always on fire, but then they would.
Yeah, it was like a small flame for the most part. Yeah.
We take a big bump and it would fire up. And like, make sure you're not close to the edge when you take the bumps. And it's all this like stuff that you had to remember in addition to just having a normal match.
Right. I remember I did that big flying clothesline and rolled and was rolling, and they hit it, and I was just like, oh, wrong way. I gotta go back this other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a day in the life right
It
there.
was, man.
Day in the life of a WWE wrestler.
Especially in that time period.
So, for you, you're wrestling in a mask. What was that like? I mean, it had to be some limitations there, right?
It never really bothered me. I got used to it. The only issue I had was my extreme peripheral vision was cut down a little bit, but not bad. But the character-driven part of it, the mystique that added to it was very unique. Obviously, and it just made the character. Even now when I think of when people ask me, what's your favorite Kane outfit, it's the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I think Kane, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad. It didn't really constrain my air. I could breathe and everything. So it got hot. The worst part actually was I would always wear makeup. I generally wore black latex paint around my eyes to blend in with the mask, and between sweating and then that would get in that paint and it would go to my eyes. That
You didn't have
stunk.
too much of an opportunity to wipe the eyes either.
That would be the part that would stink, 'cause my eyes would start to sting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you you had to go to the guy in New York, right? Did you go to the guy in New York too? The same guy that made my mask?
Yeah. The couple, actually. The ones
Well, I think there was just a guy
Okay.
there when I went, when I had my Phantom of the Opera, when I crushed my eye socket. But you had to walk up, like 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah. And they also, they basically made bodices and stuff, for role playing, if you know what I mean. So I was like, yes, this is great to be here. Yeah.
Please make my mask.
Yeah.
I want to leave.
Please don't take any pictures. I may run for office one day.
Yeah.
I don't need that to come out.
Man, the weird thing is they were very nice people, actually.
Well,
Well, you can't judge a book by the cat of nine tails. What the heck was that?
Do you wish the mask would have never come off?
No, because the thing is that I felt that I had gone as far as I could with the mask. So it had actually become a limitation at that point. So I was the 2 people that wanted to do it were me and Vince. We were the ones who actually wanted to take the mask off. Yes.
So the mask came off in Raw on Monday Night Raw in 2003. Also came off in Saudi Arabia. Which one was the?
I apologize, man. Like I just couldn't find anybody else, so I ended up with him. He
just wondering which one.
So it's funny
was
was someone apparently a friend of mine. They were watching this, and they were watching with someone who never watched wrestling. They're like, "What happens if his mask comes off?" They're like, "Well, the mask never comes off." At about that time, went flying off.
the mask. I think. And that was the least of the things that happened during the course of that match.
That one was something else.
Oh, you would think, right? You would think all the experience that was involved in that match that we could have done that in our sleep. That may be the only match, if we did it again, that I would come out of retirement for.
You would come out of retirement
Just to see if we could top how bad it was the first time we did it. We went, a man lost his pec, man lost his pride, man lost his mask.
And that had been my dream match too. It was Brothers to Destruction against DX, man. That always been like, man, if we could just do that one just
That'd
one
be
time.
great.
And I'm like, let's never do that one again.
No,
We're done. I've got a county I got to go clean up.
oh my goodness. Well, that's a good segue right there. I mean, how's politics compared to the dressing room? Or did the dressing room prepare you for politics?
It did, actually. People will say, well, wrestling and politics are quite the departure. And I'm like, no, they're not.
Minus the bumps, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just the different kinds, but politics is everywhere in our world, and definitely in WWE, you had to learn to navigate the internal politics if you were going to be successful.
Yeah.
So there really, as weird as it sounds, there really actually isn't that much of a difference.
Wow.
When you decided to run for
It's all
mayor,
work, huh?
it's all work.
I put him on the spot.
Man, I don't know. Seriously, like politics can be more entertaining, I think, than than wrestling at
I
times,
get you.
for sure.
It feels like WWE a lot of
Yeah,
times.
the storylines get pretty good.
Storylines
Yeah.
are pretty good.
Yeah.
When you went to run for mayor, when you started looking at becoming a politician, were you worried that people were like, "Oh, they're just going to laugh at me because I was Kane"? I was
Yeah,
are
a
they
little
going to
bit.
take me serious?
A
in what I
little
want to
bit.
do.
Yeah. Obviously a little bit.
It's a good thing that you had that run as corporate Kane that kind of prepared you for Mayor Jacobs.
Yeah, but but anytime you do something new, it's politics is interesting because you kind of have your people that are just focused on that as well.
Yeah.
And what you have to understand is those aren't the folks that you're trying to appeal to voters and to the community at large. So you can't worry about what the media or what some of those people say. I mean, they don't know you. And I was confident that once people actually got to know me, they realize I'm not. I'm not. I would always say, look, most politicians are trying to convince you that they are the person you see on TV.
Yeah.
Have to convince folks I'm actually not the person they see on TV. It's the complete opposite. But I think once people actually meet you and realize that, oh, he's just a dude. That I was confident that I could do it at that point.
Yeah.
Do you find that in your world, once they just are around you a little bit, they realize you're just Bud?
I'm just a normal guy.
Flip flop wearing Bud.
Just a flip flop wearing Bud. I'm just a normal guy that has to deal with some wrestlers every now and then.
Wrestlers?
Yeah, some wrestlers. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh, him.
You don't have to do that because you're not.
Now, he's definitely, seriously, the Undertaker character was awesome. And ever since the debut I was a huge fan. I grew up, though, and I grew up in the Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man era.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, I'd watch people like Bulldog Bob Brown and Ray Candy and Flair a little bit, and Harley Race.
Careful.
Oh.
Flair.
Oh, yeah, I know he loves Flair. Yeah, sorry, your guy. But
Greatest of all time.
and then I was a big Road Warriors fan as well. So
Oh,
Do you wish you guys would have, like, Road Warriors Prime, Brothers of Destruction
that'd
Prime?
have been cool.
We would have killed him.
Yeah, that'd have been cool though.
That'd have been fun.
That, I mean, yeah, you guys could have
Killed
sold
him.
out.
Would have killed him.
As long as they didn't have Rocco.
Rocco.
Remember they had the dummy for a while, the puppet.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on.
Do you not remember that?
I
when
think I
when they
do.
first
Hang
came
on.
to WWE back in the day from WCW, and they found Rocco, which was their ventriloquist dummy in the rubble in the south side of Chicago. Paul Ellering pulled him out.
Your brain is so much better than mine. Your memory. I do remember Rocco.
Two different lifestyles here.
I think Rocco. I think his run was about like Isaac Yankem's. It wasn't very long. But yes.
As long as they don't have the puppet.
Who was the puppet master? Was it Hawk?
No, it was Ellering.
Oh, it was Ellering.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, see, I would have wanted the Road Warriors, not so much maybe what Legion of Doom.
yeah.
The Road Warriors when they were first coming in and
Yeah, you guys would have had, that would have been a fun
yeah.
to watch. The Brothers of Destruction. Yeah. The entrances alone would have been
That's all we would have had to do.
Yeah. And the place would have exploded just off of that.
Then they take a couple of our finishes. Boom, we'll be good.
We're out.
A couple of finishes and
We're out. We're home.
we're going to go home now.
Meet you at the bar. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys.
So you were on the road with Mr. Undertaker over here. And what were some lessons learned from him that you gained for the business, life, or any of that?
Always make sure to have more than half a tank of gas in the car when you leave the arena, so you don't almost run out of gas like we did once, and it's my fault. And I was going to run out of gas in the Undertaker in the car. That would have been
So
incredibly
you only had
embarrassing.
half a tank of gas?
No, I had like we were in like Evansville, Indiana, and we were almost on empty. And Mark's like, "You think we should fill up before we leave Evansville? We have to drive to St. Louis." I'm like, "That'll be fine." Sure, it'll be fine.
Famous
It was like
last words.
Sunday night. There was nothing open.
Nothing.
You had nothing. And I'm
Nothing.
like, oh my gosh, we're going to run out of gas. And it's going to be my fault. And I'm driving the Undertaker. And this is going to be really embarrassing. So, kids always fill up
always
at
fill
every
up.
opportunity.
Did y'all ride together a lot?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, for a while there, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the more interesting because is our trips with Paul Bear were far more interesting than our trips because, it was kind of quiet, really. We just kind of sat in our own peace. But Paul, he would just get so blowed up, mad at you for the littlest things. Like when we get Canterbury in here, I get him to tell the story about stopping for food in a different place. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
So it
he
sounds
was
like
very-
Paul was very particular about the restaurant he wanted to go to.
yeah. I mean,
where
everything.
we stayed, where we ate, what time we left, and what time we left in the morning to go to the airport. If you weren't on his schedule, it was going to be quiet in the car.
He got so mad at me once. Because
I don't even know the story, but I'm already laughing because I'm sure I have the same one.
We had flown into L.A. We have a show in Anaheim at the Pond. Paul would always want to go to this Mexican restaurant in Anaheim right next to the arena. And
Go ahead
I'm
and give him a
like,
plug.
yeah, it was El Torito, I think.
El
It's a
Torito,
small chain out in
Anaheim.
California. And so I'm like, yeah, man, that's cool. I'm going to borrow the car. I'm going to go to the gym, and then we'll run over there and hit it before the show. Traffic was terrible, so I was late
LA,
getting
right?
back. Is LA, and then we can't go to the
That's the
restaurant.
kiss of death right there. But
He wouldn't talk to me for like 3 days. He was so mad. I wouldn't even talk to me. It was a little uncomfortable. So so then we were in like Salt Lake City at the end of the loop. And it was actually the Godwins. And we went out to a nice steakhouse, and I bought everyone's dinner. And then Paul thought I was the greatest person in the entire world, and he started talking to me again. I actually preferred when he didn't talk to me more, though. But
No.
in any case, but it was always food. Like
I love you, Kane.
If he was upset with you on any of that stuff, would he retaliate in the ring somehow? Would he ever do anything just?
Oh no, not if he was legit hot.
Yeah.
Like if he's legit hot, you just got to ride the quiet
he would just-
storm
yeah.
out.
Even he wouldn't even try to.
No, no,
mess
he-
with
Oh
it.
no,
no.
There was no. Yeah, it would
There's
just.
no
there was
ribbing
talking.
and none of that.
No,
He
Plus, I mean, he couldn't really do a whole lot to you in the ring. Like the one time. The one time he tried to get involved in one of our matches, he got stuck under the bottom rope. And
He could get under the bottom rope. God bless his heart.
Mark, we got a new sponsor, bud.
We got a new one.
We got a new one, and you've had this before already.
This is good, man. Give me one of those.
So that's Magic Spoon. All right. I've had this once before when we got them as a sponsor. I started reading a little bit more about them, and I'm really excited for them to be a sponsor to a point
Absolutely.
where I'm going to pop this open.
You gonna open it up
And
now?
I'm going to try a little bit of it.
Check it out. 0 sugars, 4 grams net carbs, and 13 grams of protein in a cereal.
That's pretty dang good.
I'm not gonna open mine. Let me have some of this one.
You take that one home tonight and eat some cereal with the kids.
That's really good, man.
Oh, yeah, it tastes really good. Good flavor. So let me tell you a little bit about Magic Spoon.
Give me a little bit more because this is really good.
Okay, as a kid, we'd loved eating cereal, right? Mm-hmm. But as an adult, I don't want all that sugar. And most cereals don't give me the protein I need. Then recently, we hooked up with Magic Spoon, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like our childhood favorites, but without the sugar and with all of the protein. Macros. Every serving of Magic Spoon has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about eating cereal again. The flavor options. We're sitting here eating the fruity one right now.
Yep.
You've got
I got
cocoa.
cocoa.
Flavor options. They also have 10 flavors that all taste just like the cereal you loved as a kid. Their most popular are fruity, cocoa. They have a frosted. By the way, you have a peanut butter. Why we didn't get peanut butter, I don't know. But
We'd ate the whole box.
oh, dude, the peanut. No, yeah, that's kryptonite for me. But there are so many more, like blueberry muffin, cinnamon roll. They got a birthday cake. They got a honey nut and a maple waffle. Magic Spoon makes it so easy for us to get more protein when you're too busy or tired to cook. Come home, pour your bowl of cereal.
Breakfast for dinner.
We're giving these folks a deal too. You can get $5 off your next order of delicious cereal at magicspoon.com/6feet. Or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/6feet for $5 off. Magic Spoon. Hold on to the dream.
I like that. That's a nice little catchphrase.
Yeah.
He was a little too round.
It got a little too round.
Yeah, we had to pull the rope up.
he got stuck in the bottom rope, and Mark is just stomping the crap out. Trying to get him on the one hand, he said, I'm trying to get him out. I was like, you're kicking him pretty hard for trying to get him out.
A little bit of
Just shut up and hold the rope. I got this.
little built up anger there you were from the years.
I mean, he's looking up. Damn you! Quit kicking me there! Oh my gosh, it was so funny, and he didn't. I don't know. Did you ever let anybody in the car with you?
Scotty Too Hot, he used to sit in the back seat because he wasn't old enough to drive.
Because he wasn't old enough to drive.
Yeah.
Did,
So he
did
wasn't
you
old
did
enough.
you
Yeah,
get that?
He was like 23 years old, so he couldn't drive the rental car.
Yeah, you got to be 25. Yeah.
Did you get that okayed by Pooh Bear?
Yeah, I think actually he was the one that okayed it first.
Oh, okay. Because I tell you what, if I put somebody in the car without telling him,
Oh, man. I mean, the ultimate creature of habit. That's just
This is
what
what
he
I'm riding
was.
with.
Yeah.
This is where we're going.
This is
what
time we have to be here. This is where we're staying. Everything had to be by the book. And if there any deviation, oh my gosh,
yes.
you know.
So there's no just going down the road. Oh, let's go check this place out. None of that.
No, I'll tell you.
Unless it's the George Jones Museum.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
he
that was
loved
okay,
him some
yes.
George
That
Jones.
was okay.
He carried. I've said this on the show before. He carried 8x10s in his Halliburton briefcase for years, just by chance that we might run into George Jones in an airport somewhere or somewhere. He carried 8x10s.
That
I'm
big
not
of a
just.
thing.
I'm talking about like 5 or 6 8x10s of George Jones. the Possum. That was his guy, and he just, man, if he'd have ever run into him, I think eventually he ended up meeting him.
I think it did.
Yeah, through somebody. Then he ended up becoming. I guess they became friends by the end. But oh my goodness, I would get on George Jones would come on the radio, just by chance when they still played George Jones on the radio, it would come on. And I could see him over there driving. His head would by, and I'd turn the station. He wouldn't say a word. He'd be so mad. You could see his blood, the redness would just engulf his big head. And he would be so mad. And I would put it on whatever, the most obnoxious thing I could put it on, and I'm banging on the, and he just, I'd hear him tell the Hepners later on, that damn Wendy changed my music. Driver always picks who listens to the music.
Driver gets to pick the music.
Driver gets to pick the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also had these rules that only he knew,
Yeah.
and only
He made them up.
Yeah.
Sometimes as he went, probably.
exactly. Yes, they would change depending on the circumstance. But yes, driver picked the music, except if he wasn't driving.
Oh man. But
Last question I have for this is, I've asked this to Mark over there. Do you believe that the Brothers of Destruction should be in the Hall of Fame as a tag team?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that the niche that they carved out was as important as any other tag team. And I think that, the Attitude Era to me was the best and most impactful time for WWE, and the Brothers of Destruction were a huge part of that. So yeah, I would think so.
Okay. I think so too.
oh, do you really? Last time you didn't think that. Now you think that.
That is a lie if I've ever
Why
heard
would you think
lie.
they shouldn't be?
First of all,
He
I
didn't think our
that-
resume was our resume.
Our resume is good enough.
What? Don't listen to that man over there. First of all, he left you in a burning freaking building.
Hey,
all
we
right?
made up for that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, look at
water
me
under the
now.
bridge,
Yeah, we
fire.
made up. Yeah.
He
It's-
had a pretty damn good career because of it.
Yeah,
Y'all made
It
up
turned out
pretty
okay.
quick. It only
Yeah.
took about a year for y'all to all of a sudden reconcile over this whole,
There's a lot of back.
Carried a little grudge.
Yeah. if this the brothers' relationship of you leaving your brother behind to die, if that went to wrestler's court, what would
Oh, they'd give him a medal. Pretty sure.
give him a medal in wrestler's court?
Wrestler's court was a little harsh.
Yeah.
It ain't for the
Not
faint.
only are you innocent, here's your medal for doing it. Good job.
Great
job.
Not for the faint of heart,
Yeah,
man. No. Don't come up with any of that gaga baby face stuff.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
That
nothing
ain't gonna happen.
Nothing soft.
Nothing soft coming in there.
Well, I think the Brothers of Destruction do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and that's what I've always said.
That's
Mark was you were on the fence about it.
Was not.
You said, well, we're both already in the Hall of Fame. It's really not that big of a deal.
Did I say it like that?
Kind of in that voice. Yeah.
I don't think I did, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. But how did I wait?
You said
I don't know. We all have single careers. I guess we don't need to be hogging up everything.
that's essentially what,
That's what I said
in layman's terms, yeah.
in layman's terms.
Yeah.
I don't believe I said that.
You said y'all both had a great, y'all were both in the Hall of Fame. It's not that big of a deal if you don't get in the
It
Hall
would
of
be a
Fame.
much bigger deal if neither one of us were in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, then it would be a huge deal. But
yeah.
I mean, I'm figuring they're keeping an ace up their sleeve for when they need something.
They don't have anybody to put in. It
starts getting to the
dry
bottom of the
year.
barrel.
You put in.
We'll put these two knuckleheads. They're going to be here anyway.
They'll be here anyway. Let's get something out of them.
Can't get rid of them.
Yeah. We're going to
Throw them in there.
We'll save money on a ticket and lodging. They're already coming out anyway.
What the hell?
It's too easy to do it. You going in the Hall of Fame, what did that mean to you?
Oh, it's awesome. It's obviously a pinnacle of your career, and something that not many people achieve that honor or have that honor bestowed upon them. So it's a huge deal.
Yeah. Christmas Creature could have. Did you
Christmas
think about?
Creature
Did
wouldn't
you
have
think
been in
about
the Hall of
coming out in that?
No,
You didn't.
no, absolutely not.
No.
No,
the
I would
Hall,
have.
yeah.
No. What's harder, politics or wrestling?
They both have their moments, and there, as we were talking about before, there's actually politics and wrestling are not as different as people might think. that they are. So they're equally challenging in different ways. The wrestling folks see you on TV for 10 minutes and on Friday night or Monday night, and they think that that's it, and they don't realize, especially when we were doing it, how much more demanding it was from that. I remember talking with a friend of mine, and they're like, "Why do you leave on Fridays?" It's like, because we have 3 matches in 3 different towns before we get to TV. So, oh, really? I didn't know that.
Just thought you were on TV.
Yeah, they just thought literally you're on TV, and that was it. So the schedule was grueling. Just always in a different town. Remember one time you and I were Jefferson City, Missouri, someplace. We're driving from Kansas City to St. Louis, and we're stopped at this truck stop, and it's like 2 a.m, and we're getting whatever we can eat. And I remember you looking at me saying, "Ha, the glamour," and that's and
glamour,
and that was it. It's a little different than other forms of entertainment because so much of it was just left up to us to get to wherever we were going and to do all those sort of things. So it was difficult. Obviously, politics, just with how contentious everything is now, can be very challenging as well.
I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, if you're not on the right side of the aisle, you're wrong. I mean,
and people are just, it just seems like right now people are just angry about everything, and it doesn't matter. And if I am big into, we need to talk about stuff. I may not agree with you, but at least we can talk about it. Now we can't even talk about things anymore, and I think that's obviously not good for any of us.
No, that's not good for the country. I agree with you 100%. Would you say being the mayor is like being the booker?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you're the shot caller?
Well, my job is to kind of have the vision of where I think things need to go and put people in positions to where they can make that happen, which is a lot of actually the bookers, the same deal.
Right.
And that's the overall trajectory of your company and who you're going to put in this spot and how you're going to get there. So it is kind of, it actually is kind of a lot alike.
You got the pencil.
I do have the pencil, yeah. And people, the same deal too. And people get mad at me about that a lot too. So you know how that is.
I bet. It's funny though. Just a minute ago, you were talking about the travel, and Michelle brought something up to me. She said I should ask you about was the trip back from Europe, the volcano trip.
Gosh,
is that probably not the worst trip? I wasn't on this trip. That's why I'm not. I can laugh kind of about it because I wasn't on it.
Yeah, that was awful. We were doing one of our 2 3-week-long tours in Europe. This is 2010, I think, and that was when the volcano in Iceland went off, and literally every form of transportation in continental Europe was gone. It was all booked, And we have our last show there was in Geneva, and we were supposed to go to Turkey, and we had like $1 million house in Turkey. We were going to have 20,000. That was our debut. 20,000 people, more folks than had come for a U2 concert when they debuted in Turkey. So we're all, yes, that was the day that made the whole tour worth it, right?
$1 million live event is
huge.
That's huge,
big money,
especially at this time period.
Yeah. Guys, we can't do that show. Okay. We have to go home because we were on the SmackDown side, and the Raw guys were stuck in Ireland, I think. So they couldn't get back home to do Raw. So you have to go home to do Raw. Well, the problem was they didn't know how they were going to get us home. So we had started that day in Hamburg, Germany, and had taken a 6-hour train ride down to Zurich. Okay. And when I get on the train, I'm like, oh, we're going to be there in no time, because we would take off and we would go, like, we'd get up to 130 miles an hour. And I was like, man, we're going to be there fast. But then we would stop every 5 minutes, and we kept on getting more people on than people that would get off, right? So by the time we get to Zurich, I look down, like, the hallway of my car on the train. I've never seen so many people packed into an enclosed space in my life. I'm like, what in the world is going on, right? I mean, and it took us 6 hours on this little train to get to Zurich. So then we go do the show, and then we're all just sitting around going, well, what's next? Well, no one had any idea, because the office hadn't figured it out yet. Apparently they had like a big map of the world just like laid out across the table, and they're just like spitballing. What do we put them on a ferry? Maybe we can fly them in helicopters. They're doing all this stuff.
There was no means of transportation available.
Everything was gone. So finally, they're like, okay, we're gonna put you back on the buses, and you're gonna drive from Zurich to Geneva. Now the problem though was the drivers had a time limit of how they could drive, just like in the U.S. where they can only drive so many hours a day. They had 4 hours left before they timed out. So like, we'll drive you as far as you want to go, 4 hours, so every direction you want to go. So, okay, so we take off, we go to Geneva. We were going to go to these luxury coaches, okay? This is how they described us. So we pull in the airport in Geneva, and we're driving around, and there's these two, it was like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like they'd found the Holy Grail. There's these two big, huge, like, tour buses. We're like, oh, this is gonna be all right, because we're gonna drive all the way across Switzerland and Spain to Madrid, and then fly out of Madrid. There's one flight that we could get on, which was empty. Continental Airline were still in business at that point, and we're going to fly, because they had to have, it wasn't because we needed the plane, it was because they had to get the plane back to Newark. Okay, so we had rented the plane, but the plane was going whether we were on it or not. All right, so anyway, so we're pulling up to our luxury coaches, and then we passed the luxury coaches. Why do we pass the luxury coaches? Then we pull up to these two little, they look like rent-a-car vans, or like they were like hotel shuttles. They're like, these are the luxury coaches. It's like, those don't look nearly as nice as those buses did back there. Get off, man. I'll look at the bus that I'm going to get on, and I'm walking with Scott Aycock, who's one of our security guys, and Scott used to actually drive tour buses. And we're looking at this thing, and I'm like, man, Scott, I think it's missing some lug nuts, and the radials are popping up out of the tires. Scott just looked at me, just shook his head. He's like, don't get on.
Don't get on that.
So we get on the bus. We have to leave some people behind because the bus isn't big enough to fit everybody. So we take off, and our bus had a bathroom, but the drivers couldn't find the key. So
wow.
And our bags are piled up. And then the drivers don't speak English. They speak French.
Yes.
None of us spoke French. So we're driving along. We can't even talk to these drivers, man. And we're driving and driving and driving. And we're supposed to be in Madrid by like 6 o'clock. But then I'm thinking, wait a second. Like, everybody's blowing past us on the interstate here. And when they said they were going to get there at 6 o'clock, I don't think they expected us to be going 30 miles an hour, because we had so many bags on the bus that its maximum speed was like 40 miles an hour on the interstate. And we're just driving along. And finally, I think it was Rey Mysterio said something in Spanish, and one of the guys said something back in Spanish, and realized, oh, he can speak Spanish, Rey can speak Spanish, now we can actually communicate with the bus drivers, at which point they basically told us, you all are in deep trouble, right? So because we're driving along, man, we drove, I think, 16 hours in this little thing. And then you get to Madrid, and I did not know this, Madrid is surrounded by a mountain range, okay? So we're in this bus that on flat land goes about 40 miles an hour. Now we're going straight up and down. So
Oh my gosh.
there were times that we're all like doing this deal, just trying to get the bus to move forward. The dadgum dashboard is lit up like a Christmas tree. Every warning light is on. At one point, I see the driver is up there making a sign of the cross. I was like, I think we might be in trouble, guys.
That's something I
And
don't
this
want to
goes
see.
on for like 3 hours, and we're like, okay, we got past that last hill, and then there is one that'd be even bigger coming up, right? And then we could finally see the lights of Madrid, and we're like, oh, we're gonna make it. They had pushed this flight back. They just kept on pushing it back. But the airport had a midnight curfew, so if we did not did not take off by midnight, we weren't gonna make it. And the plane was gonna take off with or without us. So anyway, so we get in the airport, and again, we really didn't have cell phones or anything. It's like 2010, and we get to the airport and we realize that our plane is not taking off from the main terminal, and the bus drivers don't know where this terminal is that the plane's taking off. It's 11:30. And this whole time, everybody had been like pretty good about it, right? That's when you could hear a pin drop, because we're all like, we had driven at this point, like from the start of the day before, it was over 30 hours between the train and the bus and all this stuff. Man, we were able to call the other bus. There were 2 of us, and figure out where to go. That plane took off, I think it was 11:53. When we lifted off, so we only made it by 7 minutes. And no offense to the people in Newark, but I've never been so happy to land in Newark, New Jersey in my entire life as I was that particular day. It was awful.
Ooh.
It was terrible. That was like the worst travel day times one.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
It was awful.
I was glad I was home. But
that was
Michelle was
bad.
feeding me the play-by-plays, and I was just like, oh.
It was terrible.
Was she on that?
Yeah, she was on that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
But
She kept describing, she's like, he's curled up like in a little bitty space. He was in a fetal position trying to, like 16 hours in that.
It was terrible.
It was awful.
Jesus, that sounds awful.
It
But
was
the thing is, though, we all love flying business class or private or whatever, but the stories come from events
There's
like
some stories I wish I didn't have.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest. I love the stories where I don't have anything going on, and there's nobody else on the plane. Oh, that's because I rented it. That's great.
Yeah, those are the good ones.
Those are the
yeah.
good ones. Those are the best
good ones.
stories.
But it's fun to tell the stories of things like that.
Well, it's fun. Like
Now.
20 years later, it's great.
Got PTSD over it, right? My man ain't been back to Madrid since.
No. Yeah, I never thought that I'd actually take like a bus tour of Spain, but I got one in my luxury coach.
You went all over Europe.
sure did, man.
Train, planes, and automobiles.
Yes.
You literally lived the movie.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Man,
The life of a wrestler.
So,
it's not glamorous.
do you want to hear the coach story? It was the 1,000th episode of Raw in St. Louis. And the deal was that I go down to the ring,
So bad.
Your face right
and
It's awful.
the ring is surrounded by various bad guys who are about to attack Kane. But then there is the bong, and out comes the Undertaker with his full entrance to the rescue. And the Undertaker gets in the ring, and we take care of business. That's how this whole thing
Was pitched.
was envisioned. Now, mind you, too, the show was actually running late. So they wanted to load you under, like you were somewhere else. They wanted to load you under the ring. I was like, you can't do that. I was like, this is the Undertaker. It's like the entrance is really important, I mean, I was like, okay, I guarantee we'll get this done in less than 5 minutes. I guarantee this segment will take 5 minutes. Okay?
Professionals.
Yeah, we're professionals.
Yes.
Okay, we're trusting you. I'm like, good. So I get out to the ring, and here we go. Bong, here comes the Undertaker. It is awesome. 1,000th episode of Raw. We hadn't been in the ring together in a couple years.
Oh, it'd been a while.
It's awesome. Mark gets out. He's the Undertaker. He's got his big jacket on, does the whole deal. Then he gets in the ring, and he goes to take the jacket off. And he was wearing those big, like the boxing gloves.
Yeah.
The MMA gloves.
So,
They get wrapped, like the sleeves somehow get wrapped around the gloves, and he's in a straight jacket.
dude,
And
it
he
was
can't
awful.
get out.
So it's even worse, actually, because this coat. This is only the second time I wore this coat. I wore it at WrestleMania just a few months earlier, and it was the coat was like 30 pounds. It's a big old coat. Had these big spines on it and everything. Well, at Mania, I dropped it off of my shoulders, held my arms straight, and the thing fell straight to the floor. Beautiful.
Perfect.
I mean, couldn't have been any better. Well, this time when I flipped it off of my shoulders, instead of it just falling, it folded, right? And when it folded, it was just like somebody just put a lock and chain on it. Because I'm like, oh my gosh. And and I'm and I'm trying to be discreet, right? Like and I'm reaching across like, because they're shooting. I just know they're shooting me, and I'm tugging, and the more I tug, the tighter it gets. And then I'm like, oh my goodness! So now it's got me, and now I'm stepping on it. I'm stepping on the back of my coat, and I'm trying to pull my arms up, and it's just getting tighter. I'm like. I'm in a panic almost. Like all this.
He looks at me, and I've never seen it's the Undertaker, and he's got this look on his face of like a deer in the headlights. What am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna run over and
this
take
is
your
what
coat off.
this is what I get from him, right?
Are you in the mask? Are you in your mask? You're not the mask?
No, I wasn't in the mask. Actually, yes.
He is. So I'm facing hard camera. He's front right in the corner. Right, he's kind of standing out of the way. You let me do my thing. Right now, I've realized that I've got myself into a situation that I'm going to need his help or something to get out of.
And I don't know what to do.
Anyway, I look over, and he's kind of sitting there looking at me, and I'm looking at him like, and like I'm looking for some kind of words of encouragement or like, hang on, I'll help you. All I see is, oh shit. I'm like,
Our opponents keep on like jumping up and like they're gonna do something. They jump
back down. We're not making any move. We're not even acknowledging them. Now they're shooting the audience. The handhelds are in the audience. They're doing ballyhoos, everything else. Finally, Nick Dahl jumps up on the apron, and he's tugging, and I'm bouncing into the ropes because he's trying to tug on this coat to get it off. Oh man,
it was the biggest buildup. Like,
it was the worst job I ever did. That coat kicked my
and
ass.
meanwhile, all I'm thinking is like, I told him we get this done in under 5 minutes. He ain't gonna be out of his coat in under 5 minutes.
Oh, it took every bit of 5 minutes. And I'm trying to I'm looking at him. I get, I'm looking down at Nick Dahl, and he's like, this is like I'm getting no reassurance anywhere that I'm getting out of this coat anytime soon.
And this is live TV.
Yeah, it's
with
Monday
a
night.
sold out crowd, like 20,000 people. And I'm just
And
like
the greatest character in WWE history.
And it's evaporating. It's evaporating right in front of everybody. Oh, that was a nice run he had right there.
The coat beat the streak.
The coat beat the streak first.
I was like, brother, he's so bad, even his coat will take you out.
I don't think I wore that coat again. No, you know what I did is actually I had her make the slits up the arms bigger for that coat. Oh, that was horrifying.
And for you, that was a big part of your character was your gear and all of that, the taking it off, the taking
everything was done with measure and purpose. Yes.
And then when something, because you had the hood that time that you couldn't get it off your head.
Oh yeah, it stuck to my Brillo.
You're sitting there doing this number with the hood, and so it's like when things like that happen, it's always like, oh man, like that's.
It's tenfold because that character is like so cool. And when you see something not cool happen, it's just like,
yeah.
oh well,
And that's not a great way to start a match, I would imagine.
Not our opponents.
No,
It's going to be a little
Kane's
stiff.
like, you better let me start. they're pretty good guys. You better let me start.
it's not their fault. You couldn't get out of your car.
Okay, just stay over here. I'll handle this.
We're going to be nice tonight. We're not going to do this to these guys.
You just calm down. You work on your breathing. Work on your breathing. I'll handle this.
Was there ever any times where you had to calm each other down in the ring where it was you may have seen the other one maybe getting a little pissed off and you're like, all right, why don't you tag me in here for a minute?
I think more not so much pissed off, but just to commiserate some of the opponents that we had to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing worse than you're in the ring working with somebody struggling and you look over to your partner for some kind of reassurance and they're just like,
Yeah, they're laughing.
that's the worst I've ever seen. That's awful.
Yeah.
And they're just laughing at you, and you know they're laughing. Like with him, like even with the mask on, you'd see his shoulders and his hair.
I guess it is a little bit easier when you have the mask to, you can actually.
And he can talk too, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing people don't realize is he's talking to you, and he's like, "Oh, that is the absolute worst I've ever seen in my life."
I never said that.
Well, I don't know, man. There was some stuff in there.
Yeah, there's some bad stuff. I don't think I ever said that.
In Europe. Like, oh.
What was the best match that the Brothers of Destruction ever had?
As a tag team?
Yeah.
The bad thing is I can tell you all the
Bad ones, right? Yeah, those are the ones that stick out.
Those are the ones that stick out.
Yeah, those are the ones that always stick out are the ones that are bad. But we killed everybody.
Well,
really.
which one's the worst one then? Let's exclude Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's a long list.
I don't know. The match ended up probably turned out good, but when the Dudley split my wig open,
Oh, yeah.
that was
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was good because I got to hear the promo. Like it was I forget, man. It was was it a ladder match?
It was some kind of gimmick. Yeah, it was some kind of
and they
gimmick
were
match.
It was like
There was three teams or four teams involved in it.
Yeah, so we had to be down for a second. So they hit us with chairs, and they missed and hit Mark in the back of the head.
Just laced me wide open.
So he's like, just bleeding profusely out of the back of his head. And I'm laying there like next to him, and then he just starts like cussing, threatening people, and I'm like, "Well, this may not turn out well for anybody in the ring tonight."
It was good for business.
It was good for business. Yeah.
I kind of stayed away from that for as long as I could. And I was like, "Oh, this is that. I don't think this is going to be good."
What's the worst injury you had?
The most painful thing that had happened to me was Show superplexed me. We had a triple threat match. It was Big Show, Shawn Michaels, and me. And Show superplexed me, and he landed on the ring. He hit the ring first. And of course, I'm coming off the top rope doing a flip. And at the time, I was solid 310 pounds or so. And of course, he's over 400 pounds. So the physics does not always work in your favor, and it did not this night. As he's hitting the ring, obviously, then the ring is coming back up. As I'm coming down to land on it as well.
That's how I broke. Yeah.
Ooh, it felt like I get hit with a baseball bat across my kidneys. I mean, it just knocked the wind out of me. I threw my legs like really funky, so I threw my back out. I couldn't walk. I mean, I was able to finish the match barely just because of adrenaline, but I couldn't walk. They had to take me to the hospital, and it was wild though. They did an MRI, and there was no damage. I think my muscles had just seized up, So a couple days later, I was fine, a little sore, but I was okay. That was the most painful thing that had ever happened. I mean, I've had other stuff, but as far as just like, oh my gosh, I can't move. And every time I try to move, just my whole body would just lock up. It was awful.
You got your wig split pretty good in a cage match too. That was nasty.
Yeah, that was terrible. I was having a cage match with Triple H, and X-Pac slammed the door into my head, and I didn't think the first one looked good. so I was like, do it again.
Second one did.
The second one looked really good.
Second one was
because
right
it was
on.
very real.
Yeah.
What had happened was because of this, they actually switched the design of the cage door because they had a latch, like they had the door frame and then this kind of nub that came off of it. Well, it was the nub that came around and hit me. So when he slammed it, you normally block it with your shoulder and you just, go into the metal fencing part of it. I missed all that. And just that part hit me square in the head. I mean, it went all the way down to my skull.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was
Cuz
when
got a
Mick
thick
Foley walks in the locker room and you're sitting there and Mick's like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" You're
That's
like,
when you know.
Yeah,
That's when you know you
I need to get to the hospital like right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was bad. You had your ear ripped off.
I
one
got
time.
ripped in half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my ear ripped in half. Austin's. I was in a handicap match, and I think it was Birmingham, England.
Yeah.
I had a handicap match. Triple H and Stone Cold were both heels. I was the baby face, and Austin put me on the second rope and did that running thing where you throw the leg over you. Well, somehow or another, his knee brace caught me right in the top of the ear and split my ear in half, and it rung my bell too. And I remember them telling me, like, okay, here's the thing. You can stay. We were on charter. You can stay and get your ear fixed, or you can get on the charter and go, but we can't wait for you because they had a noise ordinance that they can't leave after a certain time period. And I was like, how long is it going to take to get to Newark? We had added it up, and I said, give me enough time. We'll have somebody waiting on you, take you to the hospital as soon as we land. I was like, that was the infamous flight where I choked out Kurt Angle when that was the flight from hell.
That was the flight from hell?
Yeah, where Kurt and Vince were wrestling up and down the aisle and everything else was going on. And so I'm concussed, my ear's cut in half, and I'm sleeping, and then I start feeling stuff at my feet. So I wake up and I see Kurt on top of Vince, and I'm like, oh, hell no. So I put a rear naked choke on Kurt, and I remember him looking at like, take your choke. And then I was like, no, they're just playing. So I let him go, sit back down, pass right back out. That stuff, I mean, that was just typical kind of stuff that happened on the daily, right? I mean,
You just keep going too. That was the thing.
yeah, you just day after day, you had a different story. Something happened to somebody every single day. But
And now you're just trying to clean up Knox County, and
don't be fooled. It's clean.
it's
Yeah,
It's clean.
it's clean. Yeah, it's good.
Don't come walking in there thinking you're gonna spit some chewing gum or something on the ground.
Oh, I wouldn't do it at all. Would never do that in Knox County. I'll clean flip flops in Knox County for me.
Again, okay, I apologize, brother.
It's fine.
We're gonna start a movement.
For everybody to wear flip flops.
No, to stop Bud's flip flops.
Stop Buds flip flops. Hashtag stop Buds flip flops.
Yeah,
That's
the
a
flip
tongue
flops
twister.
got to go.
There you go. You want to do some fans Q&A?
Well, you got time? You got a minute?
Yep.
You stick around?
Yeah.
All right. So for everyone that wants to go to this next segment of fans Q&A, go over to our Patreon channel and be able to watch this exclusive part of the podcast. For everyone else that's not a Patreon member, this is the end of this episode. Glenn, we thank you, or Mr. Kane.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor Jacobs, however you need to be referred to.
Just call him sir.
Sir, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks.
We appreciate you coming on the show very much.
Thanks. I had a good time.
Yes. And I just want to thank our sponsors, Happy Dad, First Phorm, Artisan Grange, Mando, and boy, DraftKings.
DraftKings stepped up.
DraftKings stepped
Right
up.
at the right time, too.
Right at the right time.
Right in the
College
middle of
football,
football season.
NFL's coming up. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring this episode. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and for all of our Patreon members, head on over to Patreon for our Q&A with the Brothers of Destruction now.